Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We got another good episode for you, and we had to travel for this one, and we're actually in the place right now. We are at Crooked Two Studios, which is all part of my man here's franchise, his company, his business, his brand. It's kind of what I've been known him for a few years now, but we got founder, creator of Fostepco, man. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Just here. Been a busy day, fucking made it back.
Has been busy. You told me literally just getting back from a session,
Yeah.
like that you had here, and then still had to go run around and do like other stuff. And things like that.
So I was dropping off merch and stuff, and that's the thing is, I'm always just like cutting from one thing to the next, just stay busy. Because I just cannot really like sit still. I'm one of those people.
Which makes sense based on like, because I know you've been doing like, I know you've been part of like this for like forever now, but I don't know everything that you guys run, because every time I see like the name Fostepco, it's always associated with something else. Like I thought it was like just one thing. So like what all things like encompasses like this, like Fostepco?
So say like it began really as I wanted to create like a platform for all my homies. And like, before Fostepco, I was just really into just designing, and like, I was really big on drawing and stuff. Grew up, doing like graffiti style shit. So I was big on drawing, and I would start fucking around making my own apparel. Like, really, I wasn't even screen printing shit. I was just like, I would buy some sweaters at Walmart, grab a can, and just like spray paint them, and just like,
really?
Yeah. It was like the first thing I was doing was some like. It was like a smiley face with like X's on the eyes and like some like crooked ass smile, and so that's like kind of like the early, I guess, stages of the logo that I have now for Crooked Tooth.
For the studio, right?
Yeah.
Crooked Tooth Studio.
Yeah, because it's just like a smile and shit. But so yeah, I was just like painting that. I had like a joint in his mouth and stuff, and eventually I got more interested into like creating a brand. I went through a couple brand names. Like first one was Bad Habits, I believe, which I started with homie Aster. After that, there was the Kill Yourself brand, and I still kind of run that, but it kind of died off, and eventually came up with the Fostepco stuff, and so that originated pretty much from me trying to find another brand to start. I was kind of tired of. I felt like Bad Habits, Kill Yourself was all kind of like had this like negative kind of
vibe. Maybe
like because to me, Kill Yourself wasn't it wasn't about suicide. It wasn't about being edgy like that. It was more about the self, the ego death and shit like that. You know, so it was like kill yourself, that self.
Like that version of yourself, kind of.
Yeah, and
elevate,
but that shit would just fly over people's heads. They would be like, "I'm
telling me to kill myself,"
like shit like that. So so whenever I kind of came to a conclusion that I didn't want to like say be out here promoting any kind of shit like that, and so what am I looking for? So I came up with didn't come up with the name. Really, how it came about was Fostepco is the name. Fostepco Heights is the name of the neighborhood I grew up in. It's like the historic name, and that's just down here in Diamond Hill, right?
Really?
So like that area right by. I don't know if you know. Were you familiar with the Diamond Hill area?
Yeah.
So say like. There's a Fiesta, and then there's like a Pronto's Food City.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So like kind of that. There's like a 5-8 block radius that is the historic name was Fostepco Heights before. I guess it got renamed into Diamond Hill, like the whole
area.
Yeah.
Compass.
Yeah, and where I found that out was just chilling with my boys, Aster and Omar, one of my closest homies and shit growing up. And just Omar just said out of nowhere, hey, this used to be called Fostepco Heights. And mind you, I had just took some Molly a little bit before that. So, like, I was already kind of peeking and shit. And when he said that, like, if you ever taken Molly, like, it's just kind of like everything is very stimulating and shit. So that word, I just felt it like enter my, brain and just like bounce around in my head. And I was like, well, I've never heard that word before, It's just like, what is this? And it's just like, it felt good when I heard it. It's just, kind of head ass. But, yeah. And so after that, I was like, I don't know, it just kind of clicked. It was like, I got to do something with this. And so I took the first, word for Fostepco, dropped the heights stuff. And I was like, this is perfect too, because I mean, it encompasses, like the community that I felt growing up, because it was like, both of my homies stayed like right in that area too and shit, and those were my best friends type shit.
You guys were all from that area.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
And so it was like, I felt like it represented the community, and like say like the homies that I grew up with, because they did art too and shit. So I was like, this is perfect to, try to put on everyone, because I've never tried to make it like about myself. Like people will call me Fostepco and this and that, and I'm just like, not like that's the brand, It's not me. I know like I'm running it and shit, and you see my face on there a lot and shit, but I just like at some point had to decide like I gotta be the fucking person, in front, like like I guess the face, because people are just more relatable when there's a face, like they fuck with the brand more.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel that, and I was one of those that would call you, and like I think Daniel was actually my DJ was the one who was like, that's not his name, and I'm like, what? It's not like I go, what the fuck is Fostepco then? So I just like I literally that was gonna be one of my questions, like where did that come from? Because I see the fours and I'm like, is it that like a four?
Yeah,
like,
okay, and so like, once I decided and just like that was gonna be like, I guess the next brand and shit. I remember just being in here in the studio, I think in like this back room. No, it was actually, because I didn't have this studio yet. I was in Camp Bowie, I think. I just started drawing, and I was like sketching like logo ideas. I've always been influenced by local skate brand Index. Have you heard of them? So they're pretty old. I don't think they're around anymore. That kind of turned into, I think, like the Q Magnolia skate, them people and shit. Yeah, something happened, they split or something. But yeah, just their logo. I was always inspired by that, by like skatewear and just like all that type of shit. And just started drawing the name, coming up with like the fours. I started throwing that in there because the first two letters, F-O, I just felt like it was slang, for four. And started doing that, and I thought it was cool how that was like the first two letters of Fort Worth too, F-O.
True.
So I was just like, it's all kind of coming together and shit, which kind of like is with that design that I did with the Texas and the four in the middle and shit, that's on those design, Dickies and shit. I was like, this is perfect. Like, how Drake will refer to his place as the six or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I can make motherfuckers start referring to Fort Worth as the foe, like it's all kind of catchy and it all kind of just like clicks and shit.
Yeah.
But so I just started fucking around drawing logos and shit, and that's where the four came into it. And as time went on, I just started like doing a little bit more of like research on like the four, and started hearing shit about these angelic numbers. So there's like the 444 stuff, and what it means is like guidance and shit like that. And so that kind of hit me. And there's like other ways it presents itself in life, like the 4 seasons, there's 4 cardinal signs, and there's just like so many things that start the 4 Vedas, I think that's what like Hinduism. And it's just a lot of stuff. That was
so as
just
time has gone by, it's like picking up on more.
And it was all just kind of, and it was like, I feel like a lot of times people will like come up with the brand or something, and they got to come up with like, kind of the story behind it and shit, and it was all just like falling together for me. Like it all sounds like kind of trippy and shit, and I just like fucking like, I didn't come up with this. It just like fell into place.
Wasn't the intent, because you're saying like it didn't have nothing to do with the number. It just happened to be like you letting yourself kind of like, okay, this is the name. Let me see what I can draw from it. And it just all of a sudden it's a 4 that like appears in your head. Kind of thing.
Type
and now
shit.
it's like, okay, you kind of wonders like, why is that there? But
and it's just like,
it's crazy. Like when you've seen like, finding out more about it, it's like, oh, like there's a lot of positive stuff that is like goes along with
and
this
so,
stuff.
taking me back to like the kill yourself and how I wanted to stop kind of promoting like I guess or people feeling like I'm promoting just like edgy I guess culture and shit. I was like, that's badass that there's like positive stuff there, and so when I was coming up with the logo, like that's why the fours are like ascending, because like it represents the ascension of life, like moving forward and progress, like a ladder, like just to keep going up type shit instead of that digression, I guess.
That's cool. That's kind of where I always like saw the logo, because like the fours are ascending. So I always thought it's like I thought it was, I went in the most simplistic way possible. I was like, oh, four, like, and then steps. There's steps. They're going up, but so it's sort of there. But that's cool that like it's purposely done because of like the idea of like elevate and like progress and stuff like that. And then like the stuff that you found out about it with like enlightenment and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's all kind of gearing towards that, which I feel is like important, because it's something I think you put into like your work, especially because you work with a ton of like artists, like a lot of artists I see come through here.
Definitely.
Even like I think some of the ones that like Chill Sounds that you did was you've done Treehouse Cabaret.
Yeah, Treehouse. I fucked with a lot of rappers that were.
Tony Love, you just dropped something today, no? Or?
Yeah, and like for him, he records here with Sprouts and stuff, but I've done like cover arts for him and stuff like that.
You're like Fostepco is like aligned with so many things, like you were saying. Started off with designing, and you do run merch and like designs off of that. But you also run the studio, which is Crooked like Toot Studio.
Yeah.
Which my old band actually came in like recorded here with when Ricky was like recording out of here. So we got a chance to kind of experience the space, and it's pretty tight when we pulled up, because I'm like it's literally like in the upstairs part like of this church, but the whole upstairs is like yours. You know what I mean? It's like this whole like creative space that you kind of walking in there, you kind of feel it. Like, okay, let's make something kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll start showing people around, and they're like, "Oh shit, there's another room. There's another room. Oh shit,
it's room after room, and everything's like, because there's like a whole separate room to like record like down the hall that has its own like vocal booth like built and stuff. Like there's a giant like room in here where you can do drums, and I know we did drums and like freaking gang vocals in there.
The chants.
The chants. And it's just an incredible space that you've like come. How like, because you didn't start out of here.
So like I started fucking around with music probably when I was 14, 13. Like I was skateboarding and shit all the time. Wasn't the best at fucking doing badass tricks off of stairs and shit, but I would always be trying, and fucked my ankle up. I think like I broke it or something, and so I was on crutches for a good while. And one of my close buddies, he was playing guitar and shit. He was like, "You want to borrow my guitar?" I was like, "Fuck it, I can't skate."
Can't do anything else right now.
Yeah, so I was just started fucking around on the guitar. Started like doing, I was learning just tabs and shit.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and I guess that's when I started like really breaking into like wanting to play music and like just be involved with music. Cause I was in band and stuff too growing up and shit, but it was never something that felt like, oh, this is what I want to do and shit. But I guess that gave me some of like the music theory that I know and that but so right around that time I started like recording myself like at home and shit, like on the guitar. I would try rapping too back then and shit, so I was recording myself in the shed, and that's where I would have the homies pull up and shit, and like, so I'd just do a session there in my dad's tool shed and shit, and my dad would be out there in the back like, what the fuck are these motherfuckers doing? Like, what the fuck? Because you can't hear no beat, whenever people are recording, it's like,
it's on
there's no like control room, or anything, so it's on the headphone, and he just hears homeboy like, just fucking shouting or fucking.
He's like,
so my dad's just like,
what
the fuck? And my dad's like fucking like straight from Mexico and shit. So they're not used to like that shit at all. Yeah, I probably never saw a microphone before and shit. So I was there for a good minute. That's what I would do is make music in the tool shed. We'd be up late just drinking, bullshitting with the boys, and shortly after that, it was maybe 2012, 2013. I got started renting out a space with the homies in Treehouse out there on in Camp Bowie. It was called Grindstone Studios.
I remember at Grindstone, yeah.
Yeah, so we were at Grindstone for a good minute. Started out in a really small room, like half the size of this, maybe less than half the size of this, and took all my shit in there. They took their equipment, so it was like all of their equipment and like my little table with speakers. Yeah, no booth, you know. It was just like
just out in the open,
just making it work though, you know. And so that's about the time I was like really started like tapped in with a couple local artists and shit. Like, yo, come through. Like, you know, I make beats, blah blah. And they came through, so I started just, I guess, breaking into the scene. You know, started trying to get my name out there. You know, giving people free beats and shit. Yeah, just giving people free beats and just staying on the grind. Really, I wouldn't even like go home anymore. Like, I would go home to fucking eat, shower, and then just head back to the studio. Just
to work. I feel like that type of environment like puts you in like. It's good to have like a space where you basically go and that's all you do there. There's nothing else you can do there.
Yeah, that's
like
the thing,
at home and stuff, like you can do other stuff very easily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can like go lay down, I could go watch TV, I can go just literally do nothing. But when you're like in the space and then like the only purpose of that space is to create shit, like, okay, if I stay here, something's gonna happen. And then you do it because that's the only place like you're gonna learn, like, you know what I mean? Which like giving free beats, doing free sessions and stuff like that. That's what you need to do because like. And in the early stages, in the beginning, like you need to work. You know what I mean? Like you need to work with people in order to figure out like, okay, how do I record? Because if you're just recording yourself, things that you do, like you need to be able to adapt to like every artist that walks in.
I always get baffled at these like new engineers that just want to like start charging like high prices and they don't even have like dope ass equipment and shit, and they don't know how to mix yet and shit, but. For some reason, they feel like they can be doing it. And it's just like,
you gotta have a portfolio, man. You gotta have something that you be like, hey, this is
why, you know,
this is why you're paying like what you're paying for, like because this is the type of work I do. These are the people that I've worked with. You know, like people like do mess with me, and then you kind of feel just because I've seen that with people that just starting off and it's like crazy prices, and I'm like, all right, but like, what does it sound like? It's like, well, I don't have anything out yet. Like, well, how am I supposed to like? Trust you like with money, like especially like with, you know, I mean any artist up and coming and local and stuff like that. Like your product is you're really like particular about it, and I mean you don't have a lot of money like to get like to just be like spending like here and then not like it and then have to move somewhere else. So you're gonna be very particular about like where you're going and who you're working with, kind of thing.
Takes trust.
Yeah, and it's like you can't just like ask for trust without providing something.
Yeah,
like, hey, this is why you should trust me. Because, you know, I got this type of repertoire. I've been doing it for this long, kind of thing. But no, I feel like you've definitely been working on your craft for a while now. Like since actually like I remember when Daniel DJ was starting to like do like recording and stuff like that himself. Like he I think your name got brought up and we're like, oh no, he's been doing it like right now. He told me it's like you've been kind of messing around since like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I'm like, like he's been doing it forever. Like since I've known him, like he's been doing that. And I just seen the way it takes for him to work, and I'm like, dang, it's a lot of work to sit there. So there's stuff that you will always like keep learning because there's always new ways to do stuff, or little minute things that you have to pay attention to, kind of thing. So, but no, it's definitely impressive, and I definitely like recognize like how much work and like that goes into it. So work ethic.
I always feel like I'm not even working enough.
and that's so people who are like that, honestly, like will always see it that way. It's like I'm not doing enough. Because you know how much like better your stuff can be, like, and everyone's particular in that sort of way. So you're like, this could definitely be better if I was working on it more. Like I can do more stuff, and that's how people like that, like you, like, you know, like DJ, I relate to them. Like even like my friend Dizzy was on a podcast, Dizzy Davis. I'm like, you're doing a ton of stuff all the time. He's like, nah, I don't feel like I do enough. It's so crazy, you know what I mean?
There'll be random moments in the year where I'm just like, what the fuck, man. could have done so much more. Like, what the fuck? Feel like,
but I think that's what keeps the drive going, and that's what keeps the hunger. You know what I mean? Like, you can always do more.
You're never satisfied.
Yeah, but you still have to take your moment. It's a balance you got to find. So it's got to find a balance of like, I could be doing more and this could be better, but what I'm putting out is also really good. Like, so appreciate the work that you do, but always know that you can get better. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because and then I feel like that's what you've been doing, like with that. Because I know you run the studio, you do the merch, but you work with a lot of local artists that I've seen, and different kind of genres and stuff like that. I saw because a friend, which I'm sure is your friend too, but Isidro. You've been working with like his like style of music. I was like, that's been pretty cool to like see.
Yeah, I always wanted to fuck with him because I knew he was doing stuff. So I finally convinced him to stop driving out to Dallas and come here. You know,
this is down the street.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
he finally came through one day. I was like, shit, you let me record you. You let me sample your fucking recordings, and I'll throw you a session, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
Oh, really? So...
Yeah, so, like, you know, I just, like... Because I can make a beat out of that whole and, like, sell it, you know? And just, like, make my money back or whatever the fuck. And yeah, I just wanted to record some guitar and shit, too. So, like, if there's stuff I want to do, like, I'll throw artist deals and shit, you know? Just, like... Just for the sake of building my portfolio still, you know? And,
but that's that collaborative effort kind of thing. You know? Like, you help me, I'll help you.
Yeah, and, like, you know, like, I like to support just, like, because I know how it is, you know, like, we ain't all got money and shit, you know, and, like, fucking, so I try to work with artists' budget and shit, you know, see where they are, and if I believe in them, you know, like, then fuck it.
That's where, like, that's where it kind of, like, is nice to have that in, like, someone who's recording and stuff, like, because, like, there's people that would do great work, but once you have someone you can work with that, like, believes in your shit, then it's like, okay, then they're actually gonna, like, do their job, and not only that, but they're gonna care about, like, what you sound like, and kind of encourage and stuff like that, which is a big deal of, like the Chill sounds like festival and, like, just everything that we're doing. I was like, oh, we want to, like, put people on this podcast, on that festival, everything that we, like, you know, that we fuck with, that we believe in, that, you know, like, what they're doing, we respect it, kind of thing. Which I'm sure that's one of the reasons, like, Daniel called you, like, to be here, because he's like I said, always talked highly of you and, like, what you built, and like, always, that's where I learned from you, and like, what you were doing and stuff like that. And then when I take, like, a closer look, I'm like, you're doing a lot. I know you feel like, you know, you can always do more, but I think that's always the thing. But what do you think that is, like, your next, I don't know, step up or, like, level, or where you'd want to be, or just stuff that you want to do?
Well, shit, I've always wanted to have my own venue. Yeah, so I'm still thinking about that, you know, like, that'd just be dope. Just, I fucking love live music, you know. I just, like, always, like, growing up, going to live shows, like, the experience is just, you know, and so, I want to work on that. Other than that, shit, I don't really, like, care too much for, like, getting famous and shit like that. So, I mean, I just stay grinding. I do this shit, you know, because I love it type shit. But I want to just travel, really, other than that.
Travel?
Like, yeah.
So maybe let's take you to travel. Like, a venue would be dope as hell. Like, because
so,
it would fall into that.
Yeah, but so fucking, I want to start DJing, and I was thinking, like, that, like, I could travel like that if I fucking...
You're going to start DJing?
Yeah, I've done it a bit in my early days and shit. So I just need to, like, get back on it and fucking, just, like, get that dust off, you know, and, because I just figured, like, that'd be an easy way to fucking, like, if you're a dope DJ, you know, people are gonna want you to go on their tours and shit like that.
That's true.
And so,
you work with plenty of artists where, like, your name could be out there.
So, like, if I can, like, start, like, booking tours and say, like, a Fostepco tour and shit, and then, like, go and DJ around, you know, and fucking bring up all these artists from around here, just, like, you know, book other artists or whatever, you know, from
that's a cool idea. Because you could, like I said, there's, like you're saying, there's a bunch of artists that you like and care for and, like, believe in. Like, oh, okay, like, let me bring them along with, you know, this brand I've built, which is built on this, you know, like, artists that I, you know, trust and believe in and, like, want to take with me. And also, like, give you the chance to you know,
Yeah, take all my
to see the world a
fucking,
little.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
expand my fucking my reach, I guess, to my audience and shit. Like,
Yeah.
just for fucking the merch and everything.
That and your beats and stuff, like, because that's one thing that I've seen with music, that literally like people work with each other from across the country, across like countries.
Yeah, definitely. It's
You
so
know,
easy now with the internet.
yeah, it's
Just
like, hey,
send
send the
some.
session back and forth, send me
Yeah,
your vocals, send back here. But if you start moving around, getting your name out more like throughout the country, and then it's like,
yeah,
oh, opens up the door to work with even more artists like from across like the country, and then like, who knows, you beats reach like across,
yeah,
to other like actual countries, and like freaking start working that way, which I think it's not something unheard of. It's something very feasible for like the type
yeah,
of like work ethic and stuff that you do. I'm sure that that's definitely something that you
yeah,
could do.
yeah. Definitely want to do that shit.
But live music is something else, though. Like, I think people might have taken it a tad bit for granted, and then like the pandemic hit, and
Yeah,
people were like, "Fuck!" Like, you're missing it, because, and I think like the Chill Sounds kind of showed that, because like of how many people like showed up
yeah,
to that
yeah.
thing.
Definitely, that shit was fucking.
Yeah, that shit was
Pretty,
fun. That shit was
yeah,
very fun, but it also like, once they started doing shows again, I've like literally, that's one thing I keep mentioning. I was like, I've gone to see the same band like a few times, just because like you're able to, you know what I mean? Like, I can go watch music now, like, and see something live, because the live experience is like, it's a totally different like ball game. Like, being there, the energy of like not only like the
yeah,
band, but whatever crowd you're in, and like just that moment. Like, I think it's something we were desperately like missing
yeah,
throughout that year, year and a half. And I'm glad like it's kind of coming back. It's a little iffy right now or whatever, but
yeah,
I think it's something we desperately need, because it's that like sense of community that it's bringing.
yeah.
Like, just people be around each other. You don't fucking worry about having to impress, or someone pissed at you or some shit like that. You're just
Yeah,
there
it's just there
having
for
a
the
moment.
music and shit,
Yeah, yeah,
having a good time and shit. And that's what, cause I've thrown shows around here in Fort Worth. Done maybe 3, 4 or something. Did like a tour, 2 for Treehouse, and the homies did the tour for this artist Jay Green. He used to be like involved with 3 6 Mafia in the early days and shit.
really.
Yeah, he came through. We had booked him for a show, and then he asked me to do like to plan his tour, his Texas chapter and shit. And so I was like, fuck it, how hard can it be? I've never done it before. But I was like, oh, well, okay, start calling venues and shit. And I mean, all it takes is just like fucking finding out the available day, having a plan, already.
Yeah,
You like you show them your plan, what you're gonna do, and you call them available dates. Just have the money. That's really all it takes. Have the money.
most of these things are just like just doing work, doing the
Yeah,
actual work,
yeah,
just
and like it's
getting calling
nothing
people.
like
It's nothing like too
yeah,
impossible. It's just like you have to put the time down and be like, okay, they're going to Houston. Like, which venues? Because there's venues they book up, and it's like, which ones are going to be available? Which ones can do what you want? Like, it's just like being able to know that stuff, and then like also like getting to know those venue owners, to be like,
yeah,
that way when you call, maybe get a little bit more priority because they know you, they've worked with you, kind of thing. Establishing relationship. That's one thing. Like, networking has always seemed like very foreign concept to me. It's been like,
yeah,
oh, that's like you got to go to these like little events around town and like greet and
yeah,
meet people,
yeah,
but it's literally nothing like that. All it is literally you talking to people, meeting
yeah,
them, and being like, hey, what do you do? Oh, it's like, oh, you playing a band? That's cool. And it's like, oh, you own your own venue, or you work at
yeah.
one. It's
All the
like, oh,
time.
this and that. It's you're literally doing it all times. If you just take like a few minutes extra to just like
Yeah,
dig a little deeper into a person, because more than likely that person is connected to something, some way or another, and that's a big part of how Chill Sounds happen, and how
yeah,
we got so many like people to want to participate in it. Because of like where Daniel works at the Post, like he just met all those people down there. A lot of those vendors were from there. You know what I mean? Like,
Word.
and then the connection he's had with you over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and like other people that were there. It was all just from talking to him and finding out. It's like, oh, you do this, you do this, you do this. Can you
yeah,
help me with this?
definitely.
Like that's literally all it is, and it's what we want to increase in it. You know what I mean? Like, increase that networking to bring people from all other like walks of life, kind of thing. We want
Yeah,
to bring people in that don't normally go to something like this, or wouldn't come to, or would come for one artist. You know what I mean? And stick around for some other ones, because mixed
yeah,
genre shows are something else, man. Like, because that's, I don't know. I feel like that's how people listen to music. People listen to music tons of different stuff. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
you should
definitely.
be able to go to a show.
Yeah, that's what
and,
I've
like,
always tried to do too. Like, so that's why I would always throw like a treehouse on like these hip hop shows and shit,
Yeah.
you know, and like people would fuck with it, like, you know, some fucking punk rock
Yeah.
type shit. They'd be fucking going hard, people going through fucking walls.
Yeah.
Some house shows. I remember in the early days we were throwing house shows.
House shows have always been.
Yeah,
wild
that was
time.
like, then I think we were maybe coming out of high school or something, and that was my first experience with throwing shows. Is
Dude, house shows?
somebody's parents would leave out of town, you know, and fuck it, house show. All right, trio's gonna play. Get like some other people, fucking. All right, boom, we're in the backyard, you know, no PA and shit, just fucking
Just
amps
straight out
and
the amps.
fucking amps and drums, and probably the fucking microphone connected to their PA too, like not their PA, their fucking amps.
The amp,
and shit,
yeah, because we wouldn't have a PA system. You just have
Yeah.
another extra amp lying around.
Yeah, type
Yeah,
shit.
I've done those. I think we did my band Under Bloom back in the day when we started in high school. We played a house show actually it was at DJ's house
In
before
Northside?
I kind of knew. Yeah, and
I
then
wonder
we
about
played out
that,
of a.
man.
I think I remember us playing. I remember a band called the River Kings, which actually Julian's
Yeah,
in, which she
yeah.
has.
I used to watch
Yeah,
them. Like,
yeah,
all the
and then
time.
I think like Exit 287, which was like Uriel, like Avila's
Yeah.
last band, old band. But I think the vocals were being run out of a bass cab that was lying sideways, so like
Oh,
all the
word.
vocals were like super heavy.
Bro, just like,
all like just the low ends are like
feel it
really
through your
good,
chest.
But those shows are fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Because like you just show up to have a good time, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's that simple nature that like I feel like is important to have in shows. It's like none of like the politics part of like bands who
Yeah.
wanting to be better than like the next band and this and that shit. It's like no, it's like the show is about having a good time. Like you're
Yeah,
showing
just
up to have a
fucking-
good time. That's it. It's as simple as it needs to be. Like, hey, I'm coming to party, have a good time.
Type
That's
shit.
it. And then like once you realize that, like it doesn't matter that's why mixed genre shows work, because like you like, oh, okay, I'm coming here to the show just to have fun. And you end up finding shit that you wouldn't listen to that you like now. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
would never give it a shot and be like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like it's just opening that sense to like, hey, I'm just here to have a good time. And even if you didn't like particularly like you're not taking home any of those bands or any of those
Yeah.
artists that you heard, that time, like, you know what I mean? Like the event itself, like should just be, you should have just had fun anyways. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
definitely.
that's the simple way to look at it. But shows
Yeah.
definitely, I think, are one of the ways that brings that.
Yeah, so I would look back at the pictures and shit, throwing the shows and shit, you know, always see pictures, take pictures, and just like seeing people like that moment captured, and just like everyone like just fucking, like you can tell there's not a care in their, you know, like mind type shit about
Yeah.
anything else. And just seeing them in the moment, like being able, I guess, to like provide a experience for people like that, and you know, like it's almost therapy, you know, like fucking.
Definitely is, like for a lot of people who don't have anything like
Yeah.
that they work through, you know, they have plenty of time during the week, during the regular day to worry about shit, but like those show moments are like not one of them. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm coming here, not focused on any of that. And you have it, and a lot of artists do it through performing. You know, the time that you're up there on stage, like you don't think about any of that shit. You think about your music. You know, the person going to the show while they're listening to that aren't thinking about the shit that's worrying them throughout the day. You know,
Yeah.
like, for people who don't do therapy, that might be the only therapy they get. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
a little
definitely.
escape that they get from like their worries or
Definitely.
their shit like going on. 'Cause everyone's got shit always going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like shows and live music or something that take it away for a little bit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I think
just
it's
music
something-
itself, really. Like, you know, that's why, like, in high school, I just fucking grew up just kid in the hallway with my earbuds in, you know,
Yeah.
just fucking jamming out, just because, like, it just took you away and escape, you know, type shit.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me into, I guess, like, making music and shit. Is like, I wanted to be able, I guess, to, like I said, I don't care about getting famous, but the fact that, you know, people can lose themselves in music and just, like, you know, stop fucking caring about, you know, whatever problems they have, or like help them through shit, you know, like, so that would always, like, I guess, made me realize, like, music is what I want to do type shit.
Yeah, because that's kind of wild. Like, there's a lot of artists that have probably like helped us through shit.
Yeah.
That, like, I mean, they don't fucking know that they did that or whatever, but they still did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Based on the music that they made or whatever. You know what I mean? That we listened to it and we were like, man, like I remember when I was depressed as shit. Like,
yeah,
I was listening to this over and over, and like it made me feel good. This is my favorite song, and this and that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not gonna know it. But also, that also inspires the idea in yourself to work on music, like because it's like I might not ever find out who this like hits in a certain way. It's like, but it has the possibility to do that for somebody. I know what I mean, and like every now and then you'll get like a rare chance where someone will come up and tell you.
Yeah, or like you just get like just seeing like comments on shit, and people are like, "Yo, like this is fucking dope," and like blah blah, and it's just like it's I feel like humbling and shit, just because like I never really expected to start getting those reactions and shit. Yeah. Where people are actually like fucking with the brand, the music, the stuff that I do and shit.
People, I don't know, a lot of what music is connection. You know what I mean? It's a way to connect yourself to somebody, you know, or something that I mean, it's not a person or anything like that, but I think we're always seeking some sort of connection with the music. Because if we look at the music that's like our favorite like kind of songs, like it's because we relate to them in a little bit of way, or like we feel connected to that part. And I think that's a part of the draw in like some of our favorite artists and like just songs. It's just like I really, you know, there's something here between me and this piece of music right now. You know what I mean? Same thing with like art. You know what I mean? Like there's something between me and this work of art right now. You know, and I think it helps us get through a lot of stuff that, you know, even just in part.
Yeah,
you know, it's all part of it. But it's been one of my
therapy.
It's been one of my favorite like things to be involved with ever, like being a musician, being a listener, being like someone who watches other people create. Like it's just it's an amazing feeling. That's why I like this thing is such a great time for me, because like I get to like just talk to people about that are sort of on that same like wave, you know what I mean? They're all on it, whatever they're doing, because it's not only like musicians and stuff, you know, that I'm speaking to. It's people involved in some sort of like art, and it's just weird when you start noticing it's like we got a lot in common with a lot of people.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
More than anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're always kind of searching for in art and music, and I think it's a nice way to provide it. You know what I mean? It's a bonus thing for like you. Like sure, it's feeding your own soul, and that's probably like the essential thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
because
like,
just
I need it.
In those moments when I always like sometimes just like damn, like I'm not getting enough. I guess like my reach isn't big enough, and sometimes just like I feel like let's say like I don't know if I want to do this anymore type shit. Like, you know, like those moments I guess when you want to give up, you know, on the dream type shit, and seeing those reactions and shit like definitely fucking remind you of why you do it, you know? And just like help you keep going type shit.
There's people like, I think people who are outside of that creator like mind, it's hard for them to make sense of like why we spend like all this time and hours and money on something, and it's like, oh, is this like providing a living for you? Is this doing all this stuff? Like some of it is just like I remember the moment where I realized that creating was essential to me being like in a good place. Yeah. And, like it didn't matter what avenue that was, because I realized like when I started analyzing the moments in my life of like when I got like down into like a bad place and felt like fucking empty, and I'm like, oh, these were all the times where I wasn't making anything. And at first it was music. At first I was like a musician, and it's like, oh, the times that I wasn't making music were the times that I felt my lowest. And then I realized that it was other stuff, because then I started like last year I started like a vlog channel, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter what I'm creating, I just have to create something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like on a consistent basis, because that's what's keeping me going. Like that's what feeds like, you know, my soul and my mind is like, I need to be making something. Like I don't know what format that it's gonna take. It's like as long as I keep creating, like that's my thing. So it doesn't matter like if it's you know, not providing like I guess a tangible monetary thing for people, because I think the people outside of that creative mindset don't get it, and it's like, oh, if it's not doing that, like why are you doing it? I'm like, because it's you know, it's making revenue in some other like form, you know what I mean, like in the form of like yourself, like it's keeping you going, like being able to function. And I think that's definitely like one thing that I've discovered about myself, that I just need it. Like I need to keep doing it, because I know I can do the rest of my life if I can continue creating something.
Definitely.
And then like with this, I feel like this adds a little bit extra, because I feel like I'm also contributing something finally, like back to my community, because I'm like, oh, like I get to highlight like these artists, these people working out here doing something. And I get to like contribute in some sort of way to like help you, like you said, like get a name a little bit more out there in stories. I feel like figuring out like who you are and stuff like that. So I love
definitely to be on it, be on your podcast and shit. Like,
yeah, it's definitely. I'm glad that you definitely made the time, dude. I definitely appreciate that.
For sure.
Because you're definitely one name that I've been hearing for years, as far as like on the grind and just working and also like working with the community, you know what I mean, like working with like the people around you and offering, like I said, help and things like that for the people who come. So I remember like when you and Ricky were doing it, like Ricky was like working out of here, kind of thing. So like, working like partnerships like that, the artists that you work with, I know I think Treehouse rehearses out of here, kind of thing. So offering, it's still like offering a helping hand like around the people around you. And then like I said, you guys get to both help each other out. But I think that's one thing that you've definitely encompassed and earned, you know what I mean, like earned that respect like around here too. And earned like the I guess just the talk around your name of like
it's definitely crazy that fucking people always like, I guess, just like be talking about the brand and shit, and like be telling other people, and like pretty much putting them on game and shit, like be promoting the studio and shit like that. Like, it's definitely a blessing, to have that. I guess people that fuck with you and fuck with what you do and shit.
It was wild, but it's earned. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely it's that
the
one little kind of thing in the back of your head where it's like, but I could be doing more kind of thing. But definitely, like, I think the respect that you've gained and like stuff that you've done, you've definitely earned it. You've definitely worked for it, and
appreciate that.
I definitely feel like most people that know you and like fuck with you and like come work with you know that for sure. But no, man, thank you again for making time and letting me come out here and being here, dude. I fucking love the space always. But no, it was really good talking to you. Definitely keep an eye out for everything this man is dropping. Everything for Fostepco's dropping. Let's just drop some merch, right? Some new shorts.
These shorts here. You fucking.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
I thought it was so wild that you literally brought the embroidery machine like out to the fucking festival and we're like literally like making fucking shit out of it. That's so badass.
Yeah, for real. I was like, should I do it? I don't know. It's kind of heavy. I was like, fuck it.
That was so
like,
cool.
Fuck it,
Yeah, that was definitely dope. And no, definitely, man. I'm gonna link all your shit down at the bottom of this video. But definitely, everybody, fuck with Fostepco, fuck with the merch, fuck with Crooked 2 Studios. With anything this man comes out with, I would pay attention. 'Cause he's been grinding for years on this. So he deserves respect. Some respect on his name.
Look at that.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks again.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Peace. See you later.